But the thing is, like I was saying, if we just add all of our contracts into the same file and we have these massive contracts all interweave between each other, it can get very cluttered and very confusing. So is there a better way we can actually arrange and organize our code other than this? And this is actually even a little bit redundant since we already have our simple storage.sol. If I change something in here, then I would also have to go and change it in here. And that's too much work for me. As an engineer, I will work incredibly hard to be incredibly lazy. So instead of doing this, we can use what's called an import. If we go ahead and delete our contract simple storage in our storage factory here, so that now we just have the storage factory contract, we can go ahead and use the import keyword to import simple storage.sol. So we can do import ./simple storage.sol and a little semicolon here. This import ./simple storage.sol is the exact same as if we had this giant simple storage in here. So this import simple storage.sol is a shorthand version of copy pasting that simple storage.sol into this contract. And now we're able to have simple storage.sol in its own file and storage factory just import it from simple storage, making our lives much easier. It takes our path, package, or GitHub, which we'll explain in a little bit, and copy pastes whatever in that file at the top of our file. Literally, Solidity for us is copy pasting everything in here and sticking it up here. So we can go ahead and run this again. Let's compile, delete our old contract, run remix VM. Let's be sure we're on storage factory. We'll go to storage factory, we'll deploy it, scroll down, click here. Simple storage starts up as nothing, create simple storage. Oh my goodness, look, we deployed a contract. Huzzah. Great work. So now that we're starting to work with different files, there's a number of things we want to consider. The first one is actually the Solidity version. So right now we're using 0.8.8 with no caret, and in storage factory we're using 0.8.8 with a caret. If I were to, for example, move the Solidity version of this down to 0.8.16 and go to compile this with a different version, Remix is actually going to automatically bump this up to 0.8.19, or actually Remix is actually going to automatically bump this up to 0.8.18 if I'm on the simple storage, because 0.8.18 is the version that works for simple storage, and it still is compatible with storage factory. However, if I were to take storage factory and move it to 0.7.6 and try to compile, it's going to try to compile this with 0.7.6 and our simple storage with 0.7.6. And it's not going to be able to do it for both. And so we're going to get a compilation error. So when working with multiple files, it's important to keep the version of Solidity in mind because you want to make sure that all of your contracts can actually compile together. So this is great and all, but right from the get-go, I want to teach you the more advanced import that you should always use. So this is good, but we actually never want to default to this. We want to default to something called named imports. Let's say our simple storage.sol contract had a ton of other contracts, like contract simple storage 2, simple storage 3, simple storage 4, and these were all massive, massive contracts. As we have this right now, import simple storage.sol would import everything from here. Simple storage 2, simple storage 3, simple storage 4. And if these files were incredibly big, when we deploy our storage factory, it would have to calculate all this extra computation, making the deployment of our storage factory more expensive. If that's confusing to you, don't worry about it right now. Additionally, in the future, these can import from weird places that aren't compatible with storage factory. Again, that's not going to make sense quite yet, and that's okay. But in any case, there's a way for us to not import this whole file, but only a very specific contract or a specific section of our simple storage.sol. So instead, what we can do is in our import statement, we can specify the exact contract that we want to import from this file. So in our simple storage.sol, let's say we do have these other contracts in here. We could say we only want to import simple storage, not simple storage 2, not simple storage 3, not simple storage 4, by saying import these little brackets here, simple storage from simple storage.sol, and this goes ahead and compiles correctly. We could also import multiple contracts from our simple storage. For example, we could do import simple storage 2 from simple storage.sol. This way, we only import the exact specific contracts that we want from these other files. And I promise you, in the future, always referring to named imports instead of this type of imports will save you a lot of headache in the future. So always default to this, never default to this. Just by learning this, you are already better than 80% of the current Solidity developers. So congratulations. But all right, fantastic. So we've learned about imports. We're able to import our simple storage from simplestorage.sol. We're importing it in the more advanced way. Congratulations.